Temperature 74 degrees and warming up. It heats up down on the base of that field. Rams won the toss. They deferred, so they will kick off to the hometown Chargers. Let's check in down on the field with Jennifer Hale.
Well, Chris, DJ Fluker and the rest of this Chargers offensive line is well aware of the challenge they face in this Rams defense. A few moments ago, Fluker told me their goal today is not just to protect Rivers, but to insulate him. Just before the Chargers took the field, Fluker and a few of the other offensive linemen watched a little more tape of that Rams front four, Chris, just for an extra dose of inspiration.
And the Chargers, who started out, Jen, at 5-1, then lost 3, struggled to beat Oakland last week, have a tough remaining schedule. The Rams started 1-4, but have won 3 of their last 5, including shocking the Broncos and Peyton Manning last week. 4-6 Rams and the 6-4 Chargers. And on offense, here comes Phillip Rivers from the 20-yard line. And moments ago, as the Iron Man makes his 139th consecutive start, officially on the injured report, and he was bothered by that for chest pains, but teammates talked about ribs being hurt when he landed on the ball awkward last week.
He's as tough as any quarterback in the NFL. There's nothing, Chris, that's going to keep him out of a football game.
Rivers, the quick pass complete, and Ryan Matthews will lose yardage. Rodney McLeod coming up from his safety spot for a negative first down play for Rivers and the Chargers. Last week, Matthews was back after missing 7 games with the right knee injury. We've talked about the veteran Antonio Gates, and Rich Arnberger injured with a back and ankle inactive. So rookie Chris Watt, who got some 50 snaps last week at that position, slides over from guard. And after a loss of 3, Matthews remains in for Rivers. The official talking to Rivers. Clock running now. Hand off Matthews. Here comes a flag, and he gets up around the 22-yard line. Carl Sheffers, our referee, who on average has called more penalties than any other officiating crew this year, about 19 a game. 16 a game has been the league average this year.
Well, this is going to be a hold. We saw the indication already.
Holding, number 65, offense. Half the distance to the goal. Repeat, second down.
Man, that is on the rookie Chris Watt. Again, pressed into duty even in college. All 4 years had never played the center position.
Well, he's going to have a tough day today, Chris. He's got rookie Aaron Donald, who will meet in our lineups here in just a second. He's having a great rookie campaign. We'll watch that penetration and those A-gaps all day long to see how this rookie Chris Watt handles him.
2 plays, 2 losses. Second and 20. Rivers from his 2 to Matthews. It's up around the 18-yard line. Ram defense with 18 sacks in the last 5 games. And Robert Quinn, you already talked about. He's got 6 and a sack that's floating out there from Kansas City that the statistical people want to clear up. There's another flag down, apparently. As the Rams secondary, rookie E.J. Gaines, the only rookie corner to start every game for his team this season.
We will shut them down.
There is a play clock issue, and that's one thing that Rivers was talking about after the first place in the first down area. And, of course, this stadium built in the 60s and very important to an offense and the play caller, whether it's your home stadium or not.
That this is going to be an issue. Quarterbacks are used to having to be able to look down the field all the way into the other end zone and get a feel for when to snap the football. But if you're keeping this on the field, it's obviously going to be a disadvantage, Chris, to whoever's under center.
And the officiating crew will work with the offense if it's not visible. They keep time on the field as well. Second down, 26. Matthews up across the 15-yard line. It'll bring up third down and long.
This team is a lot different with Ryan Matthews at running back, and obviously that was a second and long situation. The Rams are sitting back in some coverage. But this guy is a difference maker on this team. We saw the rushing game get going last week. They'll need a bunch of him today.
Last year, Matthews played all 16 games, had a career season, is in a contract year. On 3rd and 15, Donald Brown checks in. Rivers is brought down just across the 10-yard line. William Hayes and Michael Brockers were the guys who got credit for it.
Let's watch Robert Quinn here, right of your screen. Gets off the ball so fast. It was a corner blitz from the other side, but Robert Quinn affecting the pocket early in this game. That matchup with King Dunlap will be one we'll watch all day as well.
Special teams player of the week, Mike Cyphers, the punter in his own end zone for the AFC, booming it out. And this is what the Rams wanted, to give Tavon Austin a chance, and he won't get a chance here. Boy, things are escalating quickly here.
Tavon Austin signaled for a fair catch, though, so the play is dead. He can't.
There is a flag back down at the 15-yard line.
Yeah, Tremaine Johnson can't advance that because his returner had already called for that fair catch.
A player of the receiving team signaled for a fair catch. When his teammate caught the ball is dead at that point. During the kick, holding number 53 of the return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
The call on Darren Bates, who is back active for the Rams on special teams, so that will push their field position back 10 yards to the 38 of the Rams. Shaun Hill had the big game last week, going 20 of 29 with a touchdown and the upset win over the Broncos. And Trey Mason, the rookie running back, who had his best day as a pro, over 100 yards in the backfield. It is Mason. He goes nowhere. And for the Rams, Kenny Britt coming off a big game. They've moved him around at receiver. And of course, Jared Cook, their leading receiver, in number of catches. Jared Cook is the vertical threat. He leads the team in catches. Kenny Britt has emerged a little bit as of late. Shaun Hill, being the quarterback, has helped him explode last week against Denver. On 2nd down 9, Shaun Hill fires incomplete. He was trying to go to Stedman Bailey. It'll be 3rd down. And the Chargers playing that 3-4 defense, getting people healthier, one of which is Melvin Ingram, who got in for 50 plays last week coming off an injury in a layoff. We'll do the starting lineup for the Chargers, but I tell you what, Chris, we're going to see a bunch of different players. 9 linebackers, all of them play. They're all up. They'll all be in the game situationally. Manti Te'o comes on in the game in passing situations. He's in there now in the middle of the defense. 5 defensive backs for Shaun Hill facing that Chargers secondary. Benny Cunningham, the 3rd down back. Pressure delayed coming, throws, and it's intercepted! It's a Charger takeaway. Brandon Flowers fumbles at the end. But it looks like the Chargers are back on it. Flowers, who has played the best in this Chargers secondary all season long with his 3rd interception. But did he maintain possession after the takeaway?
By the defense, subsequently fumbled and recovered by San Diego. First down.
Melvin Ingram got on the loose football.
Brandon Flowers will be following around Kenny Britt all day, and he just does not see him sitting in the flat. They rolled that coverage. They thought Brandon Flowers going to play deep on the receiver going down the field, but he was really just sitting in the flat. Comes up with a big turnover to start this football game. What Shaun Hill didn't do last week against the Broncos, a turnover, he does here in the opening minutes. They fooled him. That was a very well-designed defense there. Shaun Hill didn't know what he was looking at. Ryan Matthews has it. Works his way down inside the 15 to the Rams. You see already the importance of a Ryan Matthews, the patience, the cutback ability in his running style. They're going to get the ball to him frequently today.
Matthews again. They went without a huddle, went right to the line on 2nd and 1. You stay classy, San Diego. The Rams, you know, that's the first thing the opposition tells you about Jeff Fisher teams. They're aggressive and they're physical. And he did get the first down, Rondé, so they are set up from just beyond the 12. We'll call it inside the 13. Keenan Allen, top of your screen.
Watching Antonio Gates on the line of scrimmage down here. He's a red zone threat.
Rivers to throw underneath. Knocked back at the 7-yard line. Malcolm Floyd.
You know, one area you have to be able to convert, especially off turnovers, is in the red zone, and San Diego has struggled with that. And conversely, St. Louis is very good in the red zone, largely because they play a lot of zone coverages, keep everything in front of them.
2nd down 4 from the 6-yard line. Matthews fighting hard. Knocked out of the 5 by Eugene Sims. One thing Philip Rivers said, and both of these teams defeated Seattle this year. The Chargers had warm weather when they were here earlier in the year and said they were able to wear down the Seattle defense for that win.
Standing on the field before this game, I know it said it's only 74 degrees, but we'll have to keep an eye on that today, Chris. It feels a lot warmer than that down there.
3rd and 3.
Shot, Lucy 55!
Philip Rivers hesitates and gets rid of it. An important defensive stand for the Rams. And Gates maybe wanted to go there, but there were people all around him.
You see him at the line of scrimmage. There's no way he's going to be singled up. You see Rodney McLeod come into the picture there and helped his running mate T.J. McDonald. You know, they play a lot of zone down there. They dropped it to a man, and Philip Rivers didn't know where to deliver that ball, and they're going to have to settle for a field goal attempt here.
Nick Novak, who had a miss. Remember, he had made 32 in a row, a Chargers record, 88% career field goal kicker. And this is from 23 yards. San Diego strikes first after the Brandon Flowers interception. Mike McCoy and the Chargers lead 3-0.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com.
And Ron Burgundy, famous. Yeah, he's kind of a big deal around here.
So are you, Chris Meyer.
Hey, you got your Super Bowl ring here with your Tampa Bay Bucks with your shocked Rich Gannon and the Raiders.
Have not been back here since.
Well, you enjoyed the stroll through in San Diego.
I did.
Novak ready to kick off to Betty Cunningham. Leads the NFC in return yardage coming into this weekend. And rocky start for the Chargers offense, but their defense sets them up for a field goal. And for the Ram offense as well. Cunningham from the 5. And he's up across the 31-yard line. An excellent return to set up Sean Hill and the Ram offense. Rams try and respond after their first offensive series. They give it away.
Sponsored by Budweiser, America's smoothest lager.
Sean Hill, who has been reinstalled as the starter for Sam Bradford, out for the year. 13-year veteran, mostly as a backup. Minnesota, San Francisco, the Lions, and now the Rams. Trey Mason. Tough run up across the 35-yard line.
You can talk about Sean Hill as much as you want. He really hasn't had, a bunch of quality starts since, 08, 09, 010. But today, I don't think it's going to be so much about Sean Hill as about this running game. Trey Mason, as of late, has been a spark to this offense, and I really expect them to turn around and hand the ball to him. Maybe see some Zach Stacy today and let this run game and their defense keep them in the football game.
Mason to carry, and a big hole, hit hard, but gets up near a first down around the 42-yard line. Came in averaging over 4 yards a carry, and they did give him the first down.
Well, this is a nice violent collision here in the hole. And Tre Mason, little guy, he's only 5'8", 5'9", but he gets under Gilchrist. Number one axiom of football, Chris. You know what it is?
What's that?
I'll tell you in a second.
Gilchrist hit him hard, but he got the first down, and he remains the back. He gets the carry, weaves his way through. He's on the Chargers' 45-yard line. Another Ram first down.
Number one axiom football, Chris. Low man wins, and there's not many people that are going to get lower than Tre Mason. That last run, on this run, watch him squeak through this hole here. Gets a pulling block by Davin Joseph and up under the safety, and another big run for the rookie running back.
Now the Charger defense proud. They went through the game film, only 6 missed tackles last week, and pride themselves obviously on making it difficult for runners, big or small. Remember the
False start, number 72 offense. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
That's on the right tackle, Joe Barksdale. And again, if you tuned in a little bit late, the play clock inoperative here, so the officials keeping track down on the field and alerting the offense, both teams actually.
It's definitely a disadvantage, having to keep that number in your head as a quarterback. I've never played the position, obviously, but that's got to be more difficult than just looking up and seeing it staring at you in your face from the end zone.
You see people are on the case here in San Diego. On 1st and 15, the ball is tipped but held onto by Kenny Britt down to the 40. Let's check in with Joel Klatt.
All right, Chris, obviously San Diego paying attention to some of these other AFC teams vying for a playoff spot. Cleveland comes back to win it in Atlanta, down by 1. They had a 7-play, 61-yard drive led by Brian Hoyer. They win it by 2, 26-24. Chris Rondé.
And Joel, that's one thing Philip Rivers was telling us when we met with him. Is I can't remember at this point in the season so many teams with their records close, so packly put together for the playoff run. On 2nd down 5, comes a flag.
False start, number 79 offense. 5-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Rookie tackle Greg Robinson already had 5 penalties in this game.
Yeah, the 2 false starts here, and Shaun Hill there was just trying to use a voice inflection and get San Diego to jump, and rookie got to put cotton in his ears.
So now it's 2nd and 10, trying to keep track of the penalties and the yardage. Benny Cunningham is in. Shaun Hill from the shotgun at midfield. He has time to throw and goes underneath to Stedman Bailey. Skips down about the 37. Needs to get to the 35 for a first down. And now it's 3rd and 2. As the spot goes down. You mentioned the Chargers rotate, 9 different players at linebacker that come in and out.
And we'll do our best to try to keep track of it. Manti Te'o usually in the game on 3rd down situations, and the Chargers in this one have put in 7 defensive backs, and he's the only linebacker on the field.
Shaun Hill complete for the first down. A tough catch, Tavon Austin. Tavon Austin, somebody the Rams would like to get the ball in his hands quite a bit.
His offensive line gave him plenty of time here, and this is a nice throw, giving Tavon Austin a time. You saw it right there, pivot in and out, working on Darryl Stuckey to get that first down.
Of his last 15 catches, only 1 has gone for as much as 10 yards. They want to shake him loose. 8th overall pick the previous season, but a first down for the Rams. Tre Mason following the surge of that offensive line down near the 30.
This is the game that I anticipate here. Obviously, St. Louis will throw the ball when need be, but you can pound the defense by running the football all the way up and down the field. So far on this drive, it's been just exactly that.
Well, the Rams, this is their 9th straight game against a team that now has a winning record. And Jeff Fisher, they're calling it the biggest win. He won't say it, but Ram fans, the biggest win since he's taken over as the head coach in St. Louis. Shocking Peyton Manning and the Broncos last week. Sean Hill rolling, throwing, and drops at the 20-yard line by Lance Kendricks.
Nice execution on that play. Lance Kendricks just has to finish it. You bring Tavon Austin in motion, give a little bit of a decoy, and delivers this ball right where you want it. Maybe he was anticipating that hit by Eric Weddle, but should have been a completion.
Kendricks leads the Rams in touchdown catches, but has had a problem with drops throughout his Ram career. 3rd down and 7. Blitz coming, picked up, pass is caught. That's Stedman Bailey inside the 10 of San Diego. And a flag down back at the 40.
Holding, number 79 offense. 10-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Jeff Fisher has to be frustrated with the calls going against his offense.
Yeah, there's your rookie left tackle working on one of the best pass rushers of all time, Dwight Freeney, and he just grabbed the back of his shoulder, but you can't throw him to the ground like that. That was a big, that would have been a big completion on 3rd down and put them well inside the red zone.
Instead of a 23-yard gain, they're backed up now to the 41, and it's 3rd and 17, and with Greg Zuerlein, Rams hoping to try to get at least him in position for a field goal try. Sean Hill from midfield, sideline open, and caught as Stedman Bailey gets the 1st down. Caught it, went a yard ahead, and there's another flag.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Number 93 defense. 15-yard penalty, automatic. 1st down.
And that call is on Dwight Freeney, and it'll put more yards on for the Rams.
Dwight Freeney's right here, and they're going to run a game. He's going to come up inside here, and watch when he gets to the quarterback. Helmet to helmet, underneath the chin. Easy flag for Carl Jeffers to throw. He was in the right position to make that call, and it was the right one.
So the 1st down catch, tack on the penalty yardage, and the ball spotted all the way down after 19 total yards to the 11 of San Diego. Trey Mason the back, Austin in motion. They give it to Tavon Austin, and he gets down inside the 5.
You mentioned it, Chris. They're always looking for ways to get Tavon involved, and usually when he's in motion somewhere near the center when the ball is snapped, he's going to be involved in the play, whether it's a running play or a passing play that we saw earlier. He's an exciting guy, Chris. It's very hard for offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer to create ways to get him the ball, but when they do, in space like that, he can be effective.
He picked up 6. And that's where he's trying to get into the end zone. 3 wide receivers for the Rams. Trey Mason into the pile, and it will be 3rd down. 2nd offensive series for the Rams. Their first, Brandon Flowers intercepted Sean Hill, and it set up the Chargers for a field goal. A penalty on Dwight Freeney after a Ram 1st down has allowed them to get inside the 5. So now 3rd down and 3. They can get a 1st down as Mason checks out and Benny Cunningham checks in. Cunningham, a wide receiver, lining up that way to the top of your screen off to the right. Blitz coming. Throw by Hill. Overthrown. Kenny Britt back there.
Well, they put Benny Cunningham out there just to figure out what
There's a flag
coverage they
down.
were in, and they were in man.
Pass interference, number 81 offense. That penalty's declined, result of the play. 4th down.
Sean Hill got the matchup he wanted, man-to-man, but just that little push-off right there affecting Brandon Flowers trying to make a play on that ball, and it's a flag right away. But good drive there by St. Louis. You know, they had the adversity early with the interception, but to go the entire length of the field on the back of the running game, shows some positive signs here for this Rams offense early in this football game.
Special teams player of the week for the NFC after his 5 field goals last week, Greg Zuerlein, as Phillip Rivers waits for a chance. Missed from 22 yards. And 2 top 10 defenses here in San Diego. So far, there's a flag down. Field goals are all that we have seen. Let's check this flag.
There's no penalty on the play. The field goal is successful. Timeout.
Maybe he's just used to throwing the flag so much here in the first quarter. It's out of habit. No penalty. Tied at 3.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Pizza Hut. We're taking pizza where it's never been before. By T-Mobile, changing the game of wireless. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Rams special teams. It's John Fossil, yes, son of the former head coach who is here, Jim Fossil. And you always got to worry, as the Chargers told us, when you play the Rams, whether it's kickoffs, punts, there's a fake, you prepare for it, you're ready whether they use it or not. Zuerlein, after making the field goal, drives this to the back of the end zone. Chris Davis will down it. And the Chargers will come back on offense. Phillip Rivers, 40-10 as a starter after November 20th in his career. There's a lot at stake, but Mike McCoy, the Chargers, who put on a run last year to make the playoffs, caught a break when Kansas City lost to Oakland Thursday. The Broncos trail at home against the Dolphins 7-0 in the opening quarter. San Diego trying to get to 7-4. First down. Ryan Matthews from the 20 has room. He's going, and he's up near the 37-yard line for a Charger first down.
This offense relies so heavily on Ryan Matthews, and having him back, being able to get in this shotgun and run a lead draw here gives the impression of a pass, just hands it off. You know this defensive front is aggressive. Gets a big chunk of yardage there.
16 carries last week for 70 yards, his season high, missing those 7 games with that knee injury. He gained 17 on that carry. Rivers, the quick throw to Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen with a move inside the 45 of the Rams.
And off those runs, Chris, what do you get? Play action. No shotgun play action is not your traditional play action pass, but just giving him the fake and getting some room for his receiver is a big play for San Diego.
After a gain of 20, they'll let the clock run out to the 43 of the Rams. It's the end of the opening quarter in San Diego. Rams tied with the Chargers, but San Diego is on the move. Hyundai Barber, Chris Myers and our crew, glad to have you for the start of the second quarter. Tied at 3. First down for Rivers, who's going to throw and completes. Eddie Royal. Looks like he's close to another Charger first down.
Yeah, you want to be able to nullify some of this pass rush. These guys up front, Robert Quinn, Aaron Donald, guys we've talked about in the open, get the ball out of your quarterback's hands quickly, and we've seen that happen all day today so far.
And he did get the first down. Going back to Ryan Matthews, who has run the ball well in this opening quarter, he passes Natron Means on the Chargers' all-time career rushing list.
That name.
Up to 4.
Natron Means.
And Matthews is the back.
Hey, easy. Hey, go Seattle Phil. Mike 55. Seattle Phil. Mike 55. Zachary 90.
The carry, Ryan Matthews inside the Ram 30, down to the 28. We talk about this Ram defense being tough on quarterbacks and a great pass rushing team. What about stopping the run?
So far, they haven't done it well. Obviously, there's been some gaping holes there, and we just heard that sound of Phillip Rivers seeing a look that he likes and put the fullback into the backfield and get another big chunk on the ground.
After a 4-yard pickup, Matthews again with room. There goes Ryan Matthews inside the 10 of the Rams. First down, Chargers. And there's no flags.
Well, there should be one there on the outside here. Ryan Matthews decides to bounce this ball outside here, but watch this right here. You'll see this has to be a hold on Ethan Westbrook's, or at least Ethan Westbrook isn't making enough effort to get off of it. But still, another big gash run for San Diego.
A gain of 20 for Matthews. He's got 63 rushing yards already. Brandon Oliver checks in, gets the handoff from Rivers, and falls forward for a few. That's surged by the Charger offensive line, helping this ground game.
Well, here's another opportunity for San Diego in the red zone. This St. Louis defense came in tied for 7th in the league in red zone scores. They just don't give up touchdowns, something they take a lot of pride in. Let's see if Phillip Rivers can come up with a play to get his team in the end zone here.
Last time looking for Gates in the red zone. He's sitting on 9 touchdowns, his big tight end. Shovel pass to Oliver. The Rams were ready. Bottled up and thrown back at the 10-yard line.
Aaron Donald there with the quick penetration over the center. He sniffed that play out from the get-go. I'll tell you, Chris, this rookie does so many good things. He's so fast off the ball. He's instinctive. Love the way he plays.
13 tackles for losses coming into this game for Aaron Donald. Donald Brown in at running back. And he lines up as a receiver, bottom of your screen. Now moving towards Rivers. On 3rd down and goal, Rivers fires. End zone, it's intercepted. The Rams with a takeaway. Janoris Jenkins is going and gone for a Ram touchdown. 99 yards.
I'll tell you what, Chris, Phillip Rivers does as good a job as anybody identifying what your defense is trying to do. He had the back split out wide, brought him into the backfield to see what the coverage they were in, and he was confused there.
Flags came in after the return.
The ruling on the field is the pass was intercepted. The intercepting team scored a touchdown. After the touchdown, unsportsmanlike conduct on the intercepting team for a choreographed celebration. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
He thought they were in zone coverage, but Janoris Jenkins, the top of your screen, is just sitting on this route. And Phillip Rivers thought he had his man, but Janoris Jenkins was all over that route.
Trying to get it to Keenan Allen, who has only 1 touchdown this season, but leads the Chargers in catches. And it wasn't just the pick, it was the return going the distance. Zuerlein on for the extra point. 11:32 to play in the first half. And the Ram defense produces points. And they lead in San Diego 10-3. Here in San Diego, Janoris Jenkins with the interception return for a touchdown. 5th on an interception. He's had one for a punt and a fumble. And very impressive picking off Phillip Rivers, for Rivers only his 9th interception of this season. And he was a player, Jenkins, in only his 3rd year, who had quarterbacks who completed 67% of their passes against him this year. And the coaching staff said, well, because he missed a lot of practice. This week he finally was able, health-wise, to make every practice.
Well, once he got back on the football field, you knew that this is his MO. I remember him as a rookie scoring all those touchdowns last year as well, and just injuries have kind of derailed him a little bit. But we know what kind of talent he is, and he shows it every time he gets in the end zone.
He's a risk taker, and it paid off this time. And the penalty, the Rams, the excessive celebration in the end zone after the interception return for the touchdown. They will kick off from their 20-yard line. Chargers should come away with good field position. Chris Davis. Down short of the 25-yard line. Here come the Chargers on offense, trailing by 7.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Sprint, by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. And by Visa Checkout, the easier way to pay online. Visa, everywhere you want to be.
Here in San Diego, and Philip Rivers under head coach Mike McCoy at his second year. He has reduced the turnover numbers, but Janoris Jenkins taking that one back, 99 yards.
Hey, Kappa! White box on! Hey, 390! Green hut!
Matthews and the Rams are ready for him. Aaron Donald up front. Well, the Rams back in the 60s had 2 101-yard interception returns. It's the third of 99 run back here. The last Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie to do it in 2008. You see the play clock is back operating again in view of the quarterback and the teams on the field. On 2nd and 10, open underneath. Stuffing is Keenan Allen. Looks like he's a little short of the first down. He was the target toward the end zone when Janoris Jenkins jumped in front.
Been a lot of quick releases here for Philip Rivers, and defensive coordinator Greg Williams for the Rams is going to continue to dial up pressures. The one thing he loves to do is affect quarterbacks. He did it last week with Peyton Manning. Going to try to do it again today. Philip Rivers so far, other than the interception, I think has handled it really well.
He's one of the best against the blitz this season. 2 backs, Donald Brown and Matthews in on 3rd and 1. Rivers to throw if he can. He's going to run and be stopped right at the 34. And the spot looks like they're going to make it. Kendall Langford kept him from possibly getting the first down. And it is 4th down.
Put 2 backs in the backfield, not one as a fullback, so you knew that something was up there, the play action pass. And to be honest, Chris, there was nowhere for him to deliver that football. He was trying to get it to the flat real quick, but there was nothing going. He had to take that sack.
Mike Cyphers back to punt. Tavon Austin standing at the Rams 16. A high booming kick. Inside the 14. Austin up across the 20 and out of bounds. Rams will take over on offense, leading by 7 here in San Diego. Sean Hill on 1st and 10 with Trey Mason, the running back. Hill's a throw to the sideline, and not a lot happening there. Jared Cook, tight end bothered by a back this week, missed some practice time, was not open. In fact, Jeff Fisher said that he went a little different on the practice schedule with the team this week on Wednesday, lightening things Thursday at this stage of the season.
Well, if you love, football and you understand how much of a grind it is, you would love playing for a guy like Jeff Fisher. He could be the friendliest player coach that's ever been around. That's just indicative of the kind of guy he is and his understanding of his team.
Can his team win back-to-back games? Haven't done it yet this year. Sean Hill in trouble, unloads to Trey Mason, who's got plenty of room. Across the 45 of the Rams. Marcus Gilchrist brought him down, a 26-yard gain.
This is just a typical Sean Hill, having the ability to make something out of nothing. He's looking down the field and there's just nothing there. But holds the ball, steps up, and just at the last second sees his check down, who is Trey Mason, gets acres of room out there to the left, and he has a huge game to change the field position for St. Louis.
Sean Hill, an undrafted free agent, said he wasn't even invited to the combine when he came out of Maryland. But he's lasted 13 years in the NFL. It's to Mason. Sean Hill was, we called his career interesting when we asked him to describe it.
It's unconventional, you could put it that way. But I tell you, Chris, there's not many guys, not many teams that wouldn't like to have a guy like Sean Hill on his team in terms of leadership. He told us, too, that when he got that injury early in the year and Austin Davis took over the reins, he was 100% behind that quarterback because that's his job. He understands that role. I think he did a good job just waiting for his opportunity, and now he's here.
Zach Stacy checks in at running back, second-year player from Vanderbilt, leading rusher last year for this Rams team. Sean Hill, middle of the field, and caught for a first down inside the 38. Lance Kendricks holds on to this one.
Some real efficient play calling going on right now by Brian Schottenheimer, using the run to set up the pass. We know Sean Hill can deliver these balls as good as anybody. He's short across the middle. And it's a great throw and catch here. Watch the route. Kendricks on the over, sets up the Gilchrist at the top. His route breaks it off, and the ball is there. Nice execution.
Gain of 16, spotted at the 36 of San Diego. The Rams lead by 7, or trying to add more. Mason back in at running back. He gets the carry. And knocked down at the 35-yard line. You know, this Ram team, 3 wins after starting 1-4, winning 3 of the last 5. The wins over Seattle, San Francisco, and Denver, all of whom made the championship game last year. But a young team that Jeff Fisher says we have to learn to play back-to-back successfully.
You look at the schedule and you see the Rams on your roster, especially after their 1-4 start. You got to be thinking positive things. A couple of those teams took them easily. Denver definitely took them for granted last week and got beat bad. San Diego, I think, came into this game knowing that this team is a tough challenge.
Trey Mason and the Charger defense stones him. It'll be 3rd and long. Well, San Diego's defense, when they made their playoff run last year, they're actually a little ahead of schedule if you relate to, remember they were 5-7, and a lot of things had to happen last year. In Mike McCoy's first year as head coach, they won 4 straight and got into the playoffs. Their defense was led by Melvin Ingram.
I don't know if you guys saw that picture there. There was about 7 Chargers that came off. 7 of them came on. John Pagano, the defensive coordinator, loves to get creative in these situations. He has specific players. Let's see what he has drawn up here for 3rd and long.
Tavon Austin in the backfield. Pass is caught. It's Jared Cook. He's short of the first down, but it sets up an opportunity for a field goal try if the Rams opt to do that. See how close they are.
They're going to leave the offense on the field here. Chris Sean Hill went to the sideline. He's like, hey, look, we're on the road. At least try to draw them off sides or something before we commit to kicking this field goal.
Well, they need, looks like 1.5 yards, closer to 2. They need to get inside the 31, and they are lining up as if to go for it. 3 tight ends in, Trey Mason the back. Mason splits out as a receiver in the slot to the left of Sean Hill. And timeout Rams.
That wasn't the strongest effort. That wasn't the strongest effort to draw him off sides here. He just knew what he's doing. He's calling a timeout all the way there, buddy.
Game is sponsored by Ford. Beautiful things happen when you go further.
46-yard field goal try for Greg Zuerlein after the 4th and 2 failed attempt to draw the Chargers offside. The holder is the punter, Johnny Hecker. Jake McQuaid, long snapper, bothered by a sore back this week, but giving it a go here. Zuerlein has already made 1 today. And it's blocked. Chargers have it. Running with the football. It's Eric Weddle. And he's got it up near the 34. There's a flag down as well. Darryl Stuckey may have blocked that.
This may be offsides. That first flag came in so fast, it's hard to determine. what the actual call was. The second one, I think, was a block in the back on the return.
So Darrell Stuckey did get the hand up on the Zuerlein kick for the initial block. Eric Weddle came out of there with it. Remember, it was 4th and 2, so if it's a 5-yard penalty, it'd give the Rams a first down unless this is on the return.
There are fouls by both teams on the play. Offside on the offense. They were lined up in the neutral zone. That penalty will be declined. After the ball was caught, illegal block in the back, number 58 of the receiving team. That penalty will be enforced. First down.
Chargers will keep the football, and the Rams will miss a chance at 3.
We'll see Stuckey jump right there through that gap between the wing and the end and get a crucial block here for San Diego.
Here in San Diego, Jeff Fisher frustrated. If there was a neutral zone infraction, then the blocked kick, then a penalty on the Charger return, back them up to the 20. They keep possession of the football. The rookie Brandon Oliver, the back.
Hey, Mickey Tiger Trace! Mickey Tiger Trace! Where you going here? Set 390! Hit hot!
Quick pass by Rivers, a knockdown run away is Eddie Royal. Jermaine Johnson, the Rams have been playing 5 defensive backs much of this first half.
That's because they got some really good talent on the back end here. We obviously saw Janoris Jenkins make that play. Jermaine Johnson there. That was a heck of a play over the screen pass. That was set up for success for San Diego, and he ran right through that. Made a nice tackle for loss.
Jeff Fisher saying his safeties, T.J. McDonald and Rodney McLeod, playing as well as any 2 safeties in the league the last few weeks. Rivers pass caught by Floyd. Down right away. It'll be 3rd down. Phillip Rivers, at age 32, is a very emotional, outgoing guy, and we asked him about it. He says, look, I know I'm talkative, and yes, sometimes I get carried away, but it's authentic. It's backyard football. It's enthusiasm for the game I love and played. And moments ago, after the interception by Janoris Jenkins, he's looking at him. Rondé, you could relate to that.
That's the look you want a quarterback to give you when he's saying, yeah, you got it.
San Diego 0 for 4 on 3rd down, including that interception by Jenkins. Malcolm Floyd has it, but he won't get the first down. An excellent defensive play by the rookie from the 6th round, E.J. Gaines, doing Missouri proud.
Well, that was a really delayed blitz there by, you see all these guys standing up here in the middle of the field, and they all end up rushing the passer, even T.J. McDonald there. And so Phillip Rivers has to get the ball out of his hands quick. There's just too many bodies entering. But E.J. Gaines, the rookie, playing great this year, comes up with a nice stop.
Mike Cyphers from Destrehan in Louisiana. On his high school team, he was only the place kicker because Ed Reed, the safety Ed Reed, was the putter. Tavon Austin, fair catch. Rams with a 10-3 lead, just over 2 minutes to go, and the visiting team with the football. Thanksgiving Day, it's a terrific matchup. This is a classic NFC East showdown with Sean McCoy and the Eagles against Tony Romo and the Cowboys for control of the division. Coverage 4 Eastern on Fox, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. And the Broncos are trailing Miami 14-3 in the 2nd quarter. Rams just beat the Broncos. Chargers chasing Denver and KC in the AFC West. Cunningham can't get to it. Good defensive pressure on Sean Hill. Eric Weddle, the veteran safety who is from Altaloma, California, a 2-time Pro Bowler.
Heck of a player. He's a heck of a play, too. They just wind that kid up and just let him run all over the field. Actually, they probably wind his beard up and say, just go run all over the place, make plays. That's exactly what he did there.
He said that beard, he wouldn't shave it after last year's playoff run until they went to the Super Bowl, but his wife is on him these days about, sooner or later you're going to have to clean that up.
Beard or not. He's an instinctive football player. He's fun to watch.
Sean Hill over the head of Stedman Bailey, and the coverage was good. It'll be third down. That blocked field goal for the Chargers was their first blocked field goal this year. It kept it a 7-point game. See, Jeff Fisher, we have two coaches that have some Southern California ties. Jeff Fisher, raised in the San Fernando Valley, Taft High School, and played at USC. And Mike McCoy, quarterback at Long Beach State and the University of Utah. Trey Mason in on 3rd and 10. Time for Sean Hill, and he's going deep down the sideline and well covered. Tavon Austin, here comes a flag.
Sharice Wright got caught up tangling with Tavon Austin down the field, and this is going to be an interference call on him.
Pass interference, number 29 defense, automatic, first down.
Sharice Wright is the fastest player on that Charger defense.
He's having a tough time, though, keeping up with Tavon Austin. I think he even has a step on him. And that arm bar there, you see him affect the vertical route of Tavon Austin with that arm. And I think that was the right call. Again, it's tough for me to say that as an ex-defensive guy.
I understand.
But it's true.
A 30-yard penalty, and it sets the Rams up at the 47 of San Diego. Ball is fumbled. It's loose on the field. Trying to get it to Benny Cunningham on a pitch. Looks like the Rams may have gotten it back. This will take us to the 2-minute warning. And Benny Cunningham did recover the loose exchange. Rams have 2 timeouts. They have the lead, and they are on the move. You're watching the NFL on Fox from San Diego. 6 defensive backs for San Diego after the box handoff. 2nd and 14. Sean Hill to throw for Kenny Britt. Kenny Britt has a touchdown, Rams, and there's a flag down back at the 40 where Sean Hill threw the football.
Personal foul, face mask, number 79 offense, 15-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's the 3rd penalty on the rookie, and it wipes out a touchdown.
Greg Robinson is having a tough day, and it's unfortunate because Kenny Britt, see him right here, just the hands, legal hands to the face, and it's actually Barksdale that called out the wrong number there. But Kenny Britt got Brandon Flowers to commit on this double move, and man, that would have been an enormous play for St. Louis going into the half with 17 points on the board, getting the ball. But as it stands, they got a 2nd now and forever, 2nd and 30.
Wipes out a 51-yard touchdown catch. Kenny Britt had the big touchdown catch against the Broncos last week from Sean Hill. So after the 15-yard penalty, the Rams hand it off to Cunningham. He's knocked down at the Ram 37. Manti Te'o on the tackle. Follow your favorite team all season long. Go to iTunes.com/NFL. We have a timeout. Chargers. They will have 2 remaining. The Rams have 2 remaining. The penalties have had an effect. 6 accepted on San Diego. 5 accepted on the Rams. Jeff Fisher is co-chair on the NFL competition committee. Moments ago during the timeout, you said he was a player's coach. Apparently he's an official's coach as well to a certain degree.
Oh, you know, he's the coolest guy on the sideline. So, I mean, I'd want to meet him too.
Those shades make him look very cool.
Yeah, there's not many plays you can call, Brian Schottenheimer can call here for 3rd and 26. But if you're San Diego now, you get this football back. You got a minute 47 or minute 40, whatever their time will be. They got to find a way to sustain a drive. They haven't done it all day long. They've been 0 for 5 on 3rd down. When they do get the ball back, Phillip Rivers is going to have to do something to keep them in this game. It seems like St. Louis is doing exactly what they want today.
Rams need to get all the way to the 37. They're going to play it safe with Cunningham. And a timeout San Diego. They'll have 1 remaining. And a minute 43. Once they get the ball punted. Rondé Barber, Chris Myers, we have Jennifer Hale, Julie Stewart-Peaks joining us down on the field as well from Fox and Fox Sports 1. Everybody always enjoys coming to San Diego to call a game, and you might not have said this at the beginning, but both of these teams have playoff aspirations. Jeff Fisher wouldn't admit it, but he said, hey, if we get to 500, 6-6, then we'll start talking about a postseason run.
Well, they've been giant killers. They've been on the road and won. They've won at home. They've been doing a lot of things to win tough football games, and they're going to try to do that again. We know it'll be defense. We know Sean Hill will have to make some plays later in this game, but everybody wants to have relevant games in December, Chris, and I can't think of a more relevant one, certainly for San Diego, but also for St. Louis. They rattle off a couple of wins, then yeah, man, they can get back in the conversation.
And the Chargers benefit from, regardless of what happens in that Dolphin-Denver game. Miami leading 14-3 second quarter. Keenan Allen waving everybody away. Did it hit the back of the Charger? There's a beanbag thrown out there. There's the shadows splitting the field as well around the hash mark.
Those shadows, yeah, they're significant. You know, the end of this play, and this ball came really close to running up on the hills.
Well, the front part did it.
Yeah, the front part, we just didn't get a good look at it, but
yeah, did it hit Charisse right? There's the shadows. But thankfully, the sun is out here in San Diego. And warming up mid-70s. Donald Brown the back. One timeout, a minute 33 to go. From their own 15.5-yard line, Rivers quickly throws and brought down right away short of the 20.
Take a quick look back at this punt, and we're not. We're gonna go hurry up. We can look at it a little bit later, but this offense has to produce here, Chris. They have to convert some first downs. Greg Williams is going to continue to bring pressure.
Rivers throws and caught. Eddie Royal with a first down, and he wisely gets out of bounds. Remember the Chargers with that timeout, just over a minute 3 to go. A 12-yard pickup. Chargers did not convert on third down. They were 0 for 5 here in this first half. Rivers 11 out of 13, 68 yards.
Saw the two coordinators there, Frank Wright, Greg Williams, matching up in this checks match. Mark Barron is this reserve safety sitting right there. He usually comes in the game. He blitz it.
Former Buccaneer safety. Rivers floats one and got rid of it. Keenan Allen in the area. It'll be 2nd and 10.
And this Rams defense always does a good job pressuring the quarterback. They usually get away with it with the 4-man rush, but you get in these situations and they want to create stress. And on defense in 2 minutes, the best way to create stress is to bring as many guys as possible and still leaving some coverage opportunities, and Greg Williams is just dialing them up back to back right now.
The extra pressure. Middle of the field is open for Eddie Royal. It falls near the first down. And looks like they're going to give it to him. Yes, they're marking it as a first down, and Rivers hustling his team with that one timeout and 40 seconds to go. Underneath again. Another first down at the 45 is Donald Brown. He's a halftime report coming up. We'll get a timeout. Chargers are going to use their last timeout with 29 seconds remaining. See what's coming up with Kurt and the guys back in Los Angeles.
Coming up on the Visa halftime, Tom Brady and the Patriots with another statement win. Aaron Rodgers and the Pack hold on against the Vikes. And Josh Gordon comes up big against the Falcons. Highlights and more coming up when we come back to Visa halftime.
Howie Long looking on. His son Chris Long, who is here, had that foot surgery. We're told by Jeff Fisher should be able to play next week. And Jeff said that Chris Long, he was lobbying me on the plane. He lobbied me when we got to San Diego. We just want to make sure he can go at full strength. And that'll help that Ram defensive line even more. And there is Chris Long.
They got some dogs up there already, and they're going to have to pin their ears back here in this 2-minute situation. You know San Diego is going to come out 2 by 2, figure out what you're in, dump the ball off and see if Phillip Rivers See if we can attack this Rams defense right now. Again, showing all 6 guys in line of scrimmage.
Rivers in the pocket, crowded, dumps it to Donald Brown. He slides down around the 38-yard line of the Rams. Want to get in position for a Nick Novak field goal at the very least. Has to spike it. 14 seconds and second down 2.
You got enough time here, Chris, to get at least one more play towards the sideline. And if it's not there, if he doesn't see what he wants, he'll just get rid of this ball and then give your kicker a chance for a long field goal before going into halftime.
Right now you're looking at a 55-yarder if Mike McCoy's offense can't gain anything else. It's 3rd and 2.
Space 95 loose. Space 90. Hey, fan 52 loose. Fan 52 loose. Delta! Cut!
Pass. Eddie Royal out of bounds. 10 seconds and a first down.
You get a Rams defense that's dropping that deep into coverage, just trying not to give up any plays down the field. And Eddie Royal and Phillip Rivers on the same page there, got exactly what they wanted. A quick completion to the out, picked up some yardage. They'll do the same thing here. If he doesn't get a ball to the sideline, he'll throw this out of bounds and give his kicker a chance to kick this field goal.
Floating it out of bounds. It's a 48-yard try at the moment with 7 seconds remaining, and it looks like that's what the Chargers are going to do. Nick Novak, who has already made one today and had an opportunity earlier when he had 32 consecutive field goals before it ended last week. A 48-yard miss that went wide left against Oakland.
Well, they got a positive drive. They converted some 3rd downs, kept the sticks moving, getting a chance to get at least some points here going into the half.
Emerging from the shadows, Novak for 3. And the Chargers cut into the Rams lead. It's now a 10-6 game. This week you can feast on college football. On Thanksgiving Day, 5th-ranked TCU battles Texas. On Friday, it'll be 13th-ranked Arizona State against 15th-ranked Arizona. That's a good one. Saturday, Notre Dame taking on USC. One of the great college football rivalries. USC a tough one against UCLA. It all begins Thanksgiving Day on Fox Sports 1 on Fox and always streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Well, Phillip Rivers, you said pressure. The Ram defense brings it. He's the father of 7 children, ages 1 through 12.
Yeah, that's pressure.
So he's used to crowds around him and handling situations that some might not like. A very engageable, likable guy who wears it all. Reminds me of Brett Favre a lot. The way he plays, the way he talks.
Well, he's one of the elite guys in the league. I haven't had a chance to have many in my career. I love watching this guy play throughout my career, and be able to call it today is going to be fun. I think it's going to set up for a good second half here.
Stedman Bailey on the return for the Rams, and the Rams will get the football to start the second half. At least San Diego will be kicking off to the Rams, dominated by defense. Each team with an interception. Janoris Jenkins went 99 yards for the only touchdown of this first half. We'll have more here from San Diego in just a moment. It's been an exciting defensive struggle with the Rams and the Chargers. San Diego kicking off to start the second half here. Rams leading by 4. Today's excitement brought to you by Nissan and Janoris Jenkins. The 99-yard interception return ties the Rams record Johnny Johnson had in Green Bay against the Packers back in 1980. Only touchdown in that first half. And with Rondé Barber, Chris Myers, glad you're watching the NFL on Fox. Rondé, you said at the start of this game the Charger offense struggling quite a bit, and it's continued against this very good Ram defense.
Well, they haven't been able to convert 3rd downs, Chris. They're only 1 of 6 so far on 3rd down, and that one was on that 2-minute drive right before the half. Phillip Rivers expressed to us his frustration with not being able to stay on the field and garner some points. They're going to have to do a better job of that in the second half. Mike McCoy, Frank Reich will find the answer. But for St. Louis, offense has to continue to do what they have been doing. Run the football. Give some easy opportunities for the quarterback, Sean Hill, coming up. See if they can win this game the old-fashioned way, on defense, and grind it out on the ground. They have the players to do it.
Each team with a takeaway. Brandon Flowers, a Charger interception as Benny Cunningham gets ready to receive the kick from Nick Novak. 2 for 2 to have the Chargers 6 points. Second half is underway. And Cunningham's bringing it out. And here comes a flag. As he gets up near the 30-yard line, a tough return. The leading kickoff returner in the NFC coming into this game. Penalties ravaged the first quarter of this game.
During the return, holding, return team, 10-yard penalty, first down.
6th penalty accepted against the Rams. The Chargers have also had 6 penalties accepted on their behalf, so that'll back the Rams up, put them in a bit of a hole. Jeff Fisher shielding. We talked about the shadows here in this stadium. They'd be having an effect on returners and seeing the football. Jeff Fisher, by the way, all with Tennessee, but 0-7 in his career against the Chargers as a head coach. From the 15, Trey Mason carries for the Rams. Jeff Fisher, as has been his tradition to start the second half, he huddles his team moments ago.
Defense! Keep getting it back! The third down stuff is good! Keep doing it! Let's don't hurt ourselves! Protect it!
I tell you, that's some interesting stuff right there. Most coaches do that in the locker room, but he wants to give his guys more time in there to have that downtime and then get some fired back up when they get on the field. It's unique to Jeff Fisher.
Trey Mason as a receiver, top of your screen after he picked up a yard. On second down now, Sean Hill, and it's caught. Stedman Bailey gets up to the 25 near the first down marker. Let's check back in with Jennifer.
Well, Chris, speaking of Jeff Fisher and fiery, he is furious over 2 penalties that occurred in the first half for this Rams squad. He believes the Rams have been wrong, specifically on that neutral zone infraction. He told me there's no feasible way the Rams committed that. He told his team at halftime they must overcome, however. Meanwhile, Mike McCoy tells me Phillip Rivers is just fine, even though he headed to the locker room early before the half, Chris.
Thank you, Jen. On 3rd and 1. An early chance for the Charger defense to help the offense with field position if they get the stop. Mason. And he got shoved back. You could hear players yelling, no, as if, no, you're not getting the first down.
Well, he's lobbying for that first down, but there's no way he got that. He hit right into the teeth of the left side or the right side of that Chargers defense, and there was nothing there. Tried to run a little misdirection. They weren't fooled. Get off the field on a 3rd down.
Cavell Connor helping on the defensive stop. Donald Butler, part of that linebacking core with Melvin Ingram. And lining up to punt, Johnny Hecker. Keenan Allen waving everybody away. That hits around the 40.
Punt goes out of bounds.
And the Chargers will have excellent field position, trailing by 4.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. By Chevrolet. Find new roads. By Burger King. Mix and match 2 large premium sandwiches for just $5 only at Burger King. And by Bose, the official sound of the NFL.
Back in San Diego, respected St. Louis writer Bernie Miklasz wrote, maybe the winner of this game should get to go to Los Angeles. As Ryan Matthews carries, both the Rams and the Chargers with stadium issues and now on year-to-year leases. It has gained momentum and gained steam. And you can throw the Raiders in the mix, although they've talked about getting a better playing facility in Oakland. And the Chargers say they're waiting on the city. They would like something downtown near the Convention Center, a tractable roof that would also allow those wanting to improve the convention center, that type of facility. Rivers pass complete for a first down to Ryan Matthews, who gets to the 45 of the Rams. And of course, the Rams have been waiting for a while in St. Louis for upgrades to that building. A little late in the game, some say, for a committee to be formed. It would take 3/4 of the vote of ownership for anybody to move. Matthews carries. Here comes a flag.
Illegal block in the back. Number 11 offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
You know, whenever a receiver runs at an official throwing his hands up in the air, that he probably did what he's being accused of doing.
Is it that easy?
It's that easy. That's unfortunate that you get that call, because San Diego, we said right at the beginning of this half, they need to find a rhythm. They need to be able to sustain drives. They haven't been able to do it. They were off to a fast start. See if they can pick up the momentum here again after that penalty.
Back to the 45-yard line on 1st and 20. Underneath, Antonio Gates, second catch of the game. He gets to the 45 of the Rams. Let's get a quick game break. Check in with Joel Klatt. Right, Joel?
Hey, Chris, let's go to Denver. Broncos trying to create a little separation in the AFC West, but Peyton Manning before half draws within force, 21-17. Chris and Rondé.
Chargers keeping a close eye on that for both the wild card and division in the AFC.
Okay. Hey, please. 52. Okay. Squeeze. Delta. Done.
Brandon Oliver in. He gets the football, slips a tackle, and the rookie gets a first down to the 32 of the Rams.
You heard Phillip Rivers talking to his offensive lineman, confirming that they had what they thought they had, knew that he was going out here. It was screen to his running back. You see a little screen. All they had to do was block the defensive end. He makes a couple of guys miss. And yes, you turn the field, get it back, and do a positive situation here for San Diego.
A gain of 13. Ronnie Brown is inactive, backup running back. And of course, Danny Woodhead injured out for the entire year. Chargers have missed him quite a bit. Delay handoff to Matthews, and there he goes. Straight up the middle. Ryan Matthews is in for a Charger touchdown.
That little draw has been paying huge dividends today for San Diego. We know what kind of runner Ryan Matthews is, but you talk about this rookie, Chris Watt, right here at center. Watch his block on this draw. Good delay, sell the pass protection, seal off Michael Brockers, and there's tons of running room here. Jumps through the tackle of the safety, and he's in for the touchdown, and that's the drive San Diego has been looking for all day.
And that's the kind of explosiveness they want from Ryan Matthews. A 32-yard run, and the extra point gives San Diego a 3-point lead. Matthews is over 100 yards rushing today, and his second touchdown of this season. Chargers lead at 13-10. With Rondé Barber, Chris Myers, and that's the longest run of the season for Ryan Matthews. The touchdown gives the Chargers the lead.
And he got a lot of help there from his young offensive line, kind of a much maligned offensive line. There's the rookie, Chris Watt, playing center. We pointed out his block.
Novak boots this. Cunningham healthy return last time, but negated by a penalty. And he's knocked hard at the 20-yard line. Fired up Chargers special teams. Tarek Williams, but Matthews puts San Diego on top after bolting to the end zone.
This game is sponsored by DreamWorks Penguins of Madagascar in 3D Wednesday only in theaters.
First half statistics, that touchdown for the Chargers, only their second in their last 33 offensive possessions, but they lead because of the play of their defense. Rams take over with Trey Mason in the back. Tavon Austin in motion. They fake to him. Pass dropped. The low throw to Mason. Tavon Austin has just 1 catch and 1 run so far for the Rams.
Well, it's been hard all year to get him involved in the offense, and I think they know that at Rams Park. And you know, when Brian Quick went down with the injury, they had a hard time trying to replace him. Kenny Britt has stepped up as late. Stedman Bailey is a guy I think they want to be that other threat at wide receiver. They got to find ways to get him the ball, though.
Pagano's defense, you saw, just 6 yards rushing for the Rams in the second quarter. Facing a 2nd and 10, Sean Hill to throw. The ball is out. It is a fumbled football, and the Chargers have it, and it's a San Diego touchdown. Andrew Gatchkar. The ball was knocked out. People were standing around, but not Gatchkar.
Gatchkar gets the credit, but it's Corey Liuget, number 94, right there in the middle, running through Robinson, getting his hand on this ball. That is a clear fumble. He's got an open hand on the delivery, so this will stand as a touchdown, and really heads-up play here by Gatchkar, because Mark Ingram is just sitting there watching his ball bounce on the ground, and he makes a big play and scores a touchdown for San Diego.
It was a clear fumble, but of course all scoring plays, turnovers confirmed by replay automatically. The defense is outscoring the offenses in this game.
Well, that's the 2nd defensive touchdown
Previous
today.
play is under review.
We know that Janoris Jenkins had the 99-yard one, but this one could be even more crucial. They come off scoring a touchdown, get a sack, fumble, and score another touchdown. Momentum is clearly in San Diego's favor.
Ruled a touchdown, fumble, run back, Chargers on the field, and after further review.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The ball was knocked loose prior to any forward motion by the arm, recovered by the defense, and they scored a touchdown.
And there is Andrew Gatchkar, one of those linebackers in the rotation you talked about, Rondé, from Missouri. He was born in Overland Park, Kansas, and a big special teams player, but a heads-up play. And as our rules analyst Mike Pereira mentioned as we were reviewing this, the open hand, there was no doubt Sean Hill, that ball was loose and fumbled.
Yeah, the ball's coming forward, or his arm is coming forward. There's no ball in his hand. It's clearly a fumble. Big play by Corey Liuget. Get this Chargers way ahead now in this football game.
Mike McCoy's team gets touchdowns just 21 seconds apart. Well, we touched on the possibilities that Ram and Charger fans, even Raider fans, with the city of Los Angeles open. It's been 20 years since the Rams and Raiders vacated. And, of course, Oakland hoping to get a new stadium deal. They've been trying since 2002, 2003 here in San Diego to get a new stadium. And the 2 owners before the game, a bit of an interesting discussion with Dean Spanos and Stan Kroenke.
About that graphic, going back to Cali. You're a Biggie Smalls fan, Circa 97, aren't you?
Yes, going back to Cali. You could sing that later. Somebody should go to Cali. And I spoke with Dean Spanos just before the game, and he said, you know, we're keeping an eye on Los Angeles. He made the point that the Chargers, he says 25% of their ticket base comes from Orange County, San Bernardino, the southern part of Los Angeles. And certainly that would have an effect on whether the Chargers might go there if they don't get a better stadium here, or if another team goes there. And again, it would take 3/4 of the vote of ownership in the National Football League for teams to relocate. Fans, meanwhile, hanging in there for their team. And the Rams, who had a 4-point lead, trail by 10. Cunningham. Benny Cunningham up across the 30 to the 34. The kicker, Novak, getting it his way. Thanksgiving Day, an important game, one you'll all want to watch. A classic NFC East battle between LaShawn McCoy, the Eagles, and Tony Romo and the Cowboys for control of that division. Coverage beginning at 4 Eastern on Fox, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. And Rondé and I and our entire crew want to wish everybody an early happy Thanksgiving, a safe one to you, your family.
Absolutely. You too, Chris. We get to go up to old Minnesota
next weekend. We will be enjoying the Vikings.
It'll feel like it. This doesn't feel like Thanksgiving. It's going to feel like Thanksgiving next week.
Nobody's complaining considering the weather around the country as Mason carries, and Trey Mason up near midfield. Here comes a flag late. Tackle made by Melvin Ingram. We saw a second flag coming as well. The speed of these backs, they could bust it at any moment.
Holding, number 11, offense. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Certainly the speed of Tre Mason. He gets a gap. He can a crease. He can bust through a gap and get a bunch of yardage, but got a holding penalty there on Tavon Austin. At the top of your screen here, you'll see him there. He's trying to crack on a much bigger guy, safety, and once he gets past him, takes him to the ground, I mean, I think that's an easy call for that back official.
So it makes it 1st and 11, backs them up to the 33. Mason carries and knocked out at the 35. It'll be 2nd down.
You know, we had a game a couple of weeks ago, Chris, St. Louis at Arizona, and it almost had the same feel. That was in the 4th quarter, but there was a point where St. Louis was in the football game, felt like they had control, and then bam, bam, a couple of big plays, and they were right out of it. It kind of has that same feel. They have plenty of time, though, here left in the 3rd quarter, see if they can mount a comeback and get back on track like they were earlier in this game.
Well, the Rams are limited offensively, and that's been the story all season long. Their 3rd different quarterback to start, where Sam Bradford hurt at the beginning of the year. Shaun Hill goes underneath. Tavon Austin knocked down short of the 38. Eric Weddle keeping him from gaining yardage.
Well, they don't have a lot of explosive players. Kenny Britt can be that guy. I think that's why we see Tre Mason running the ball, because he is that guy. And as we've mentioned numerous times today, they can't seem to find ways to get Tavon Austin, who is their explosive guy, the ball enough to be a quick strike offense like all teams would love to do.
Kenny Britt only has 1 catch. Remember, a penalty wiped out a 51-yard touchdown catch that Britt had. Rams can't afford that. Six defensive backs for the Chargers for Cook. And he falls down, and it's incomplete. Coverage was good. Not sure that play ever had a chance.
Well, they ran that motion, that return motion with Tavon Austin to see if they had man, and they did have man, and he just couldn't find his guy. It was a bad throw by Shaun Hill. You get a quick turnaround and get the ball back to Phillip Rivers in this offense. And if they can go down and strike here, you'll start to feel like that consistency that Jeff Fisher is always talking about continue to evaporate. They can't seem to get it going week in and week out.
Keenan Allen back. Johnny Hekker booms it. Fair catch. And he runs into his own man. And the ball could have hit a Charger there. The officials sorting out to see who wound up with the football.
Well, it looked like the returner ran into his own man as he was going up to field this punt. And if St. Louis comes out of this pile with the ball, I think this ball definitely brushed somebody on the Chargers.
Well, it was, you see Rivers coming off the field. It was a clear, fair catch, but I don't think the player in front of Keenan Allen of the Chargers knew that he was waving for it. We have not seen, let's wait for the officials' signal. The Rams have the football, but let's see. And there is a flag as well. Now you also have to give the receiving team the space. You can't impede.
During the kick, holding number 97 of the return team. That penalty is declined. The kick was muffed by the return team and recovered by the kicking team. First down, St. Louis.
Alex Bayer, the 4th tight end, came out of here with a football, and it's the Rams football.
This is not challengeable. When you see it is his own player that runs into him, and it clearly hit Davis or the returner here.
That's Chris Davis, and it bounces between them. It does touch a Charger, and the Rams with a clean recovery.
I don't think there was any question there, and Bayer gets under that ball, and gets a nice recovery for St. Louis.
A major miscue on the part of the Chargers. Tavon Austin has running room. All the way down to the 5. but San Diego, it'll be 1st and goal Rams.
Well, that's what you want out of Tavon Austin. I said earlier, every time this kid is in motion, there's a high probability that the ball is going to go to him. And one way to get him in space, if you can't do it as a receiver, get him on the run. Make the defense have to catch up with him. We know how quick and speedy he is. He's elusive. That was a nice big play down in the red zone for St. Louis.
Spotted down at the 6. Kenny Britton, Tavon Austin to the right of Sean Hill. Top of your screen. Trey Mason the back. Jared Cook splits out to the left. Bottom of your screen. He's going for Cook. And incomplete. Sharice Wright is right there with him.
He got the look that he wanted. He knew they were in man. Sharice Wright out there locked up one-on-one. No help on the big tight end, Jared Cook. And if Sean Hill puts his ball on his back shoulder instead of trying to get it up the field, I think he gives his tight end a better chance to make that catch. Looking for pass interference there, but no, that was good defense.
2nd and goal from the 6. Extra lineman in for the Rams. Mike Person back at guard. Tavon Austin the carry. Tavon Austin in for the touchdown for the Rams.
I don't know how many times I've seen this play on tape with St. Louis, but whenever they're in the red zone and he lines up in that slot, he takes a short motion, ball is snapped. Before he's there, it's going to be a handoff to Tavon Austin, and as of late, he's got involved. A huge touchdown for St. Louis.
It's his first touchdown this season, his first rushing touchdown, and he made that look easy.
And he got a good block there by Jared Cook on that corner. You know we can outrun almost anybody. That was a big turn of events there for the Rams.
Each team with 2 turnovers, and each team has taken advantage. The extra point by Zuerlein. And the Rams are within 3. The muff punt. Recovery Rams. Tavon Austin with a block from Jared Cook. And it's a 3-point game in San Diego. Tavon Austin with his first touchdown this season. Last year he had 6, and an important one to get the Rams to within 3. We've actually had 3 touchdowns scored in the last 3.5 minutes. 2 for the Chargers, and that one for the Rams. Chris Davis, who was involved in the muff moments ago, bringing it out of the end zone on the return for the Chargers, and knocked down short of the 17-yard line by Chase Reynolds. Charger fans watching all of this closely. These are updated, Rondé, to the moment of games that are final. San Diego comes in with that 6-4 record. The Dolphins are leading the Broncos by 4 late in the 3rd quarter.
Well, Chargers, as we mentioned at the open of our broadcast today, need to make a run. Their playoffs, as you said, Chris, start today. They can't afford to lose any games here down the stretch. It's such a tight race. Every game is so important. So we'll see. This San Diego Chargers team gets some urgency and finds a way to win this football game at home.
On 1st down, Ryan Matthews met hard and knocked down by Alec Ogletree. Let's get a game break. Check in again with Kurt Benefield.
An important game in the NFC West, and the first touchdown of the ball game. Cooper Helfrich from Russell Wilson fights his way into the end zone for a 20-yard score. Seattle starting to separate late in the 3rd quarter, up by 16 over the Cardinals. Chris and Rondé.
Thanks, Kurt. Remember, the Chargers beat Seattle week 2 here in San Diego. And the Rams shocked Seattle back in October, a 28-26 victory for St. Louis. On 2nd and 9, Brendan Oliver weaving his way up just short of the 25-yard line. It'll be 3rd down. Want to welcome those and thank those viewers. Fox 5 in San Diego, also Channel 2, Fox 2 in St. Louis for watching. Ty Burrell, I know, watching somewhere, the Modern Family fame, the father who is a big Rams fan.
St. Louis has all 11 defenders within 8 yards. Let's see if he brings a blitz here and jumps out of it.
Chargers 1 out of 6 on 3rd down. That's caught, and an excellent play to get a first down. Keenan Allen, sure-handed.
Philip Rivers does such a good job diagnosing this. Just, like I said right before that snap, they had 11 guys within 8 yards of the line of scrimmage, but he knew that they were bouncing back, and you see Rodney McLeod running back to the hole. He knows he has man coverage, so there'll be a pivot route open there. Keenan Allen bounce out for a first down. Good work there by Chargers offense.
Rivers 19 out of 24. He did suffer the interception. It is run back for the touchdown. Plenty of time here. And right at the 45 for a first down is Malcolm Floyd, who has a career average of just over 17 yards. That's only behind Deshaun Jackson among the active players. And he picked up 14 right there.
Give Philip Rivers some time. He'll find the open guy. He had plenty of protection there. Malcolm Floyd came in on that dig, and he delivered a nice ball.
Brandon Oliver with nowhere to go.
Head off to Brandon Oliver.
This Charger team, we talked last year, Ronnie, about putting on a playoff run. When they got shut out by Miami 37-0, Antonio Gates said, I'd never lost that badly. Mike McCoy pulled a few of the veterans out of that game. Rivers, Gates among them. And it affected. He wanted it to sink in. Guys who are gamers, who want to play, stuck with him.
Stay loose, you okay? Hey, Keenan, get you two. Delta!
Oliver fighting hard to run out of bounds around the 48 by Jenkins.
It's a nice controlled drive here by Philip Rivers, his offense, taking his time on the line of scrimmage. They're running no huddle. They're not in any hurry to snap this football. They're identifying what St. Louis is doing on defense. You hear the communications. Great sound, by the way. You can tell what he's trying to figure out. He's getting the looks that he wants, and he's making the adjustments.
A lot of short, crisp passes, which is what he had to do to beat Seattle, and that's, as you pointed out, has to be quick because of the pass rush.
We're in a Rex. He's got 55. Rex! Delta! Done!
On 3rd and 6, the blitz. Caught for the first down. That's Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen loses the football. Rodney McLeod of the Rams got there first. The extra effort from Allen to get more yards. The ball came out. McLeod comes up with a fumble recovery.
There's lots of elements to good defensive football, and one of them is hustle, pursuit. And when a receiver is this careless with the football, take a shot at it. Good job by Janoris Jenkins, who was beat earlier on that route, to come all the way back around, chase his guy across the field, and come up with a big turnover.
A 35-yard gain, but the 5th turnover of this game. The 3rd by a frustrated Charger offense.
That drive was going so well for Philip Rivers. He stepped up into that pressure that they brought on that last play, delivered a great ball. He's making some plays, but security of that football has to be paramount. He was a little reckless there and paid for it.
Rams at their own 15. Trey Mason is loose. Up across the 36-yard line.
I tell you what, Trey Mason now, watch this run. This play should be dead to rights. Somebody's about to, Cavell Connor should have made that tackle for a 2-yard loss. He makes one little side shift step, goes right by him, and gets a huge gain. Talked about how this run had disappeared. You get runs like that, it'll show back up.
A 21-yard run, the 3rd-round pick, SEC Offensive Player of the Year at Auburn last year. It's the carry again. Knocked down at the 36. Clock running here in the 3rd.
St. Louis is in a position here, I think, Chris, where they can go back to the type of game they were playing earlier. Control the ball, control the clock, make it work in your favor. Obviously, your defense is doing what it needs to do. They can get some first downs here. This could be right where they want them to be.
Well, as long as the Rams are within 3, Greg Zuerlein who has made from 60. You're that far away if you're the Rams. You still have another quarter to go as Hill is on the move and has to get rid of it. Turnovers have been big, and that's what you expect from two top 10 defenses. Janoris Jenkins takes Philip Rivers' pass 99 yards for a touchdown. And then Corey Legent causes the fumble. Andrew Gachkar, who played his college ball at Missouri, takes it into the end zone. And then the muff punt moments ago allowed Tavon Austin to get the Rams to within 3. And Keenan Allen's fumble moments ago has given the Rams the chance here on 3rd and 10. Sideline throw. He overthrows Kenny Britt. And it'll be 4th down.
They couldn't take advantage of that. It was good coverage there on the outside by Brandon Flowers on Kenny Britt. Ran a good route, got to the top of his stem, but the ball's a little late and high, and they get off on 3rd down.
Johnny Hekker coming in. 36-yard line. You never say they wouldn't fake it here when it's a Ram or a Jeff Fisher team. Hekker booming it out, though, on 4th and 10. Keenan Allen lets it go. And what a boot by Hekker. It had Allen in a tough spot. Usually you do let it go there.
Well, he didn't expect that ball to carry that far. Once you get inside the 10-yard line, I think he did a good job by letting it hit the ground. Week
12 continues tonight with Sunday Night Football, 8:30 Eastern on NBC. And then tune in tomorrow for Monday Night Football on ESPN. Well, Philip Rivers told us his offensive coordinator, Frank Reich, former quarterback himself at Maryland and in the NFL, in team meetings talks a lot in using boxing analogies, metaphors. Let's hit him with a flurry. Let's go with a jab.
Yeah, back and forth, right? Both teams are taking some body blows today, taking some big knockout punches on these turnovers. That's how they handle here to get ready to start the 4th quarter here in 20 seconds.
Brandon Oliver carries. And Chargers likely to let this run out. And in the 4th quarter, San Diego will have a 3-point lead, and they will have the football. That is the end of the 3rd quarter in San Diego. Chargers 20, Rams 17. You're watching the NFL on Fox. With our director, Michael Frank, producer Mike Burks, our entire production crew, Rondé Barber, Chris Myers, and glad to have you watching with us here in San Diego. Chargers try to get to 7-4. Rams try to get to 5-6. Sean Hill and the defenses of Greg Williams and John Pagano over on the San Diego sideline have figured heavily. Philip Rivers, 22 out of 27, near 200 yards passing in the game. On 2nd and 9, he's going to throw and complete it to Eddie Royal, who fights to get through a crowd and spins up near the 1st down marker.
And it looks like he got that 1st down. I'll tell you, though, Chris, this has been a very, very patient Chargers offense. Have we even seen a shot down the field yet? It seems like every pass is quick. Get it out of his hands. Don't let this pass rush affect the game like it's affected so many when you play the St. Louis Rams. And I think they've had found some success, especially in the 2nd half with this method of offense.
Only one pass beyond 20 yards, and that one went out of bounds by Rivers. But his team leads by 3, and he's got a 1st down. Brandon Oliver dragged down just short of the 25 by T.J. McDonald, whose father Tim was an outstanding defensive back.
Keep talking about what Philip Rivers is doing at the line of scrimmage. You heard that check there, and he checked to a stretch play to the outside. You know, Frank Reich and Mike McCoy give Philip full autonomy. He can call whatever he wants based on the looks, and again, he's doing a great job today.
Wondering if they're just resting Ryan Matthews, who has over 100 yards. And the touchdown as Oliver carries again.
Could be. You know, it's always good to have committee approach.
And we saw that in the very opening moments of this game as Eugene Sims and DJ Fluker go at it. So you see Matthews with his helmet on appears to be okay.
I think he's just taking a break here on this drive.
Matthews, 11 carries, over 100 yards and a touchdown. 3rd down and 3. Complete. Shea Ajura-Tutu with his first catch of the game.
I'll leave that name to you, but
well, Ajura-Tutu is more of a special teams player.
But the San Diego went with 4 wide receivers there. The only big guy on the field was Antonio Gates, and that's definitely a changeup for this offense.
Ajura-Tutu is 6'3", and hold that in to help advance the football. Oliver remains the back.
Hey, we're okay. Red paint tiger. Hey, loose the 55. 390.
Rivers batted away and incomplete. He had time to set up in the pocket. Looked like it was Robert Quinn who got his arms up.
Robert Quinn here at right defensive end. He just feels that that he can't get there. That Philip Rivers is going to throw this ball out quick, and real nice instinctive play.
That's 2nd and 10. A screen to Brandon Oliver. Gonna work it up to the 40. Stops short. He's another one of those little guys at 5'8". Talk about Trey Mason on the other side for the Rams. And they're carrying much of the load here. Now, Philip Rivers has only been sacked twice in this game. And as you pointed out, part of that is he's getting rid of the ball quick. He hasn't had a chance to really try and go deep. But the toughness that he has showed, and this is 139th consecutive start. Mentioned in the first half that Danny Woodhead out for the year. He's with the hat backwards, injured reserve. They miss him on those kind of plays that Brandon Oliver is picking up some of the slack on. That's Donald Brown now in the backfield. Time for his whistle and a flag.
Ball start, number 76, offense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
DJ Fluker.
Can I go back and say how impressed I am with you saying Ajura-Tutu the way?
His first name is a chore. Shea Ajura-Tutu. Don't ask me to spell it, all right? I write everything phonetically so that we can communicate to the audience. There you go. It's easy to spell. 7th penalty on the Chargers.
Ron Burgundy would have never got that one right.
Just don't put a question mark after the name, whatever you do. The Rams have been called for 8 penalties. Meanwhile, it's 3rd and 8. Rivers trying to keep the drive going. Floats one. Ladarius Green.
His first catch of the day and the first pass over 20 yards down the field today, and have not mentioned his name yet. He had a seam shot there on the linebacker. What a great throw. Watch these soft hands. Look at this catch right in the midst. Secured the catch. A nice big completion for the Chargers.
Working on James Laurinaitis. They're a 28-yard gain. Rivers over 250 yards passing now. And all the way to the 37 of the Rams. A time-consuming drive, and they're also moving into field goal range. Donald Brown. Donald Brown gets down to the 30. Check in with Kurt Menefee for a game break. Kurt?
Well, Charger fans will like this. This is Jarvis Landry with a touchdown from Ryan Tannehill. 5 yards on the score. Dolphins up 28-17 late in the 3rd quarter. If this holds up and San Diego wins, there'll be a 3-way tie for the AFC West lead. Chris?
Kurt, that'd be amazing. 7-4. Kansas City, Denver, and the Chargers, if those scores hold. And the Chargers hang on here on 2nd and 3.
Let's go, K-Wright, captain! K-Wright, captain! Captain! He's on the hill. Out, cut!
This is caught inside second catch for Ladarius Green.
Continue to be amazed here, Chris, by how he's running this offense. Obviously, he's getting some help from the sideline. His coach is putting a play in his head, but it seems like every time at the line of scrimmage, he's finding the correct check, and Rams continue to blitz him. But it's not affecting me. He's identifying it and making some great reads and plays.
Hey, let's go Badger, Badger, Badger. Sit. Green Hunt.
Here comes the flag.
False start, number 76, offense. 5-yard penalty, first down.
You see Philip Rivers give you a hard count there just to see if he can identify what that pressure is coming. And you saw a step there from the defense. And these short passes that we've seen all day long have really nullified any pressure that Greg Williams' defense is trying to bring. Get it out of your hands quick. Let them make the plays. Let the receivers make the plays for you.
8 penalties accepted on each team. We're right at the average. 16 penalties a game is what the average has been combined this season across the league. Rivers pass caught. Keenan Allen still going. Keenan Allen, touchdown San Diego.
There was a great example of it again, Chris. Rams tried to bring pressure. Philip Rivers saw it, checked into a quick little bubble screen here, and Keenan Allen making up for the fumble earlier, follows some really good blocks into the end zone. You see Keenan Allen right there in the slot, the little slip screen as you want to call it. Look at the blocks out front of him, his linemen, his receivers, slips a tackle and in for the touchdown.
There was a lot of talk, people asking Mike McCoy and Philip Rivers, come on, Allen, he only has 1 touchdown this year. What's wrong? He said, there's nothing wrong. We just, we go to the open guy. And he made that happen for his 2nd touchdown this season. And importantly, giving Mike McCoy and this Charger team a 10-point 4th quarter lead. Philip Rivers with the touchdown toss, and he's fired up about it.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving. By Budweiser, America's smoothest lager. And by State Farm. Pump up your savings with a discount double check today.
Philip Rivers, after his 22nd touchdown pass of the season, he told us the Jeff Fisher Rams, they have a bully-type mentality. And what do you do to a bully? You stand up to him.
That's exactly what they've been doing. It's all been on Philip Rivers. He's had a great 4th quarter so far, Chris.
Cunningham from the goal line on the return for the Rams. And knocked out at the 20. That drive by the Chargers, 93 yards, their longest drive of the year, inspired by their quarterback. Chargers did that scoring drive without Ryan Matthews, who has a shoulder injury. He is questionable for the rest of this game. On first down, Sean Hill's pass is caught. For the 26 is Tavon Austin.
Well, now St. Louis has got to get to the type of game that I don't think they're very comfortable doing, especially with Sean Hill at quarterback. Last week, when they dominated Denver, he was just able to manage the football game, made some plays early in the passing game. Now they're going to have to sit back, get in 3 wides, and let his arm win this game for him.
One thing Sean Hill has going for him, plenty of experience and a calm demeanor. Trey Mason as a receiver to the bottom of your screen. Pressure coming. He'll have to let it go early. And Kenny Britt almost came down with it. And he looks like he's hurt.
He came down really awkward after trying to go up and get this football.
Brandon Flowers was there with him. It was a great effort from Kenny Britt.
Yeah, good effort, too, by Brandon Flowers. It doesn't look like much there. Maybe the wind's knocked out of him. Just the way he hit the ground.
We will have more from San Diego in just a moment.
Today's game is sponsored by the new Samsung Galaxy Note 4. The next big thing is here.
Charger fans hoping Melvin Ingram or somebody in that defense will make the play. Chris Gibbons is in for Kenny Britt, who was able to walk over to the Rams sideline. On 3rd and 4, Sean Hill is on the move and floats one for Cunningham, and he can't catch it. Here comes a flag. Manti Te'o is running with him, but his back was toward the football.
I don't know if they'll keep this as a penalty, Chris.
There's no foul for pass interference on the play. There was no contact on the receiver. 4th down.
Manti Te'o was in trail position, obviously, but the ball actually hit him in the back. He did not interfere with Benny Cunningham's ability to catch that football. It was a right choice by Carl Jefferson and his staff to pick that flag up.
A good no call. The Rams 2 of 10 on 3rd down, 0 for their last 7, and that was big because it gives the ball back to San Diego, and they can work on some clock here with a 10-point lead. Johnny Hekker, a high school quarterback, is going to throw. The fake is on, and he's got a first down to Stedman Bailey. Up to the 45. The gutsy Jeff Fisher calls the fake, and it works for the Rams.
Well, I don't want to say we expected that, but I don't think that you couldn't not expect it. Stedman Bailey right here, your gunner on the outside. He's singled up by himself. He is a route runner. He's not usually the gunner out there. Gutsy call. You know your team is in a rut. They can't get the ball moving down the field. You need to affect the game, and one way to do it is on special teams, and no coach has done it more often and more effectively than Jeff Fisher's team.
28 of those. Amazing. And it worked. That's how they beat the Seattle Seahawks. It keeps their hopes alive here with 6.5 to play. And that pass is low and incomplete. He was trying to get to Jared Cook. Slicing in was Eric Weddle.
Well, the ball got tipped at the line of scrimmage and deflected it right into the path of Eric Weddle. He almost came away with a huge turnover there.
Sean Hill, as we take a look here, it was tipped and fluttered. Cook still had a shot at that. Sean Hill, you know, he hadn't started a lot in his career, but back in college, he smiled when we brought up facing Phillip Rivers, Maryland, NC State, their college matchup. Sean Hill won both meetings. One was double overtime, and another one he had to drive his team late to win. Stedman Bailey just grabbed that fake punt catch. Sean Hill to Jared Cook. If he gets to the 45, he's got a first down, but the Chargers won't let him.
What is Jared Cook doing there? Just fall forward for the first down. Let's see where they mark this forward progress, but he clearly just catches this ball and takes 2 steps towards our line there is superimposed, so it's not the real representation of it, but as he runs sideways, if he just takes 2 yards forward, it's a first down.
Take a look at the line here, and you're right, Rondé. That was not a smart move for a veteran who leads this team in catches, but now forces a 3rd and 1.
I don't know if he thought he was going to outrun the entire Chargers defense. Somebody's reminding him he's 250 pounds.
You just did remind her. Sean Hill after the fake to Cunningham. Stedman Bailey again with a first down going out of bounds. Bailey's the leading receiver for the Rams today.
A good poised decision. You talked about the veteran qualities of Sean Hill a second ago. This play was designed for Tavon Austin in the flat, but he sticks with it. Not athletic, very athletic, but finds Stedman Bailey on that deep cross for a crucial 3rd down pickup for St. Louis.
Bailey played at West Virginia with Tavon Austin. When everybody went to see Austin for the draft, they noticed Stedman Bailey, and he was selected in the 3rd round. The screens of Benny Cunningham. He's dancing around and gets down to the 20. Under 5 minutes to play. A 2-possession game as Sam Bradford looks on. His contract through next year. Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator. What will the Rams do at quarterback beyond this season? Right now, it's in the hands of Sean Hill after Jeff Fisher had to sit down the youngster, Austin Davis. Trey Mason is knocked down right away.
Well, Brian Schottenheimer, I think, has been calling a great game here, or at least on this drive. He's been mixing it up, calling the right type of plays. I'm not sure about that play call there, Chris. 4 minutes left. You're down 2 scores, at least 2 scores. Hand the ball off. I mean, you got to pick up some positive yardage. A field goal doesn't necessarily hurt you, but I think you'd rather have a touchdown in this situation.
John Pagano's defense, the Chargers are only giving up an average of 19 points a game this year. That's Bailey in motion. Sean Hill to Cook. Jared Cook does run forward this time.
Hey, he listens. He can't be taught.
You're never too old to learn. Bothered by a sore back much of the week. Missed some practice time, but got the Rams the first down. 3.5 minutes to play, and the Rams trail by 10. The fake punt on his own side of the field allowed Jeff Fisher to keep moving the football all the way down to the San Diego 12. 1st and 10. Kenny Britt is back in the game. Benny Cunningham waiting for a hole to open up, and he gets down inside the 5. A patient run by the second-year back from Middle Tennessee, one of those free agent signees of Jeff Fisher and this Rams team.
Doing a good job spreading the defense, and Benny Cunningham makes some nice jump cuts here to avoid some would-be tacklers. Get that ball inside the 5-yard line.
In the first half, it was a lot of Trey Mason and Ryan Matthews. It's been Brandon Oliver for the Chargers and a lot of Benny Cunningham for the Rams in the second half. Sean Hill for the end zone. Stedman Bailey has a touchdown, Rams. There's a flag down.
Illegal use of hands to the face, number 89 offense. 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
Oh, and Stedman Bailey should be very upset right now because this was a highlight type catch. Could have been the one on Fox Sports. But Jared Cook at the end of the line of scrimmage right there, you'll see the hands immediately to the face.
What a catch.
And that is a clear penalty, but yeah, Chris, what a catch off the back of the defender. And celebrating for nothing.
That is the second Rams touchdown nullified by a penalty in this game. Now 2nd and 12, backed up to the 14. Middle of the field, down to the 6 is Cunningham. We'll bring up 3rd down. Clock continues to run. 2.5 and counting. Each team with all 3 timeouts remaining.
The penalty, the clock becomes your enemy at this point for St. Louis. This has been a patient drive. They're obviously going to get some points out of this. But with 3 timeouts left, you have to score here. You have to score quick and then be able to get the ball back on defense. They're going to have a chance to tie this football game.
Sean Hill, end zone throw for Bailey. He's got it. And yes, it's a touchdown, Rams. Floating it, a much easier catch for Stedman Bailey, who, remember, had the fake punt catch to allow this opportunity.
Stedman Bailey's been doing a lot of work for the Rams today on offense, on special teams, and you see him here on the slot working in man-to-man. They knew what they had. There's no pick there. Just Gilchrist gets outrun to the corner by Stedman Bailey as a touchdown for the Rams.
A frustrating drive for the defensive coordinator of the Chargers. Zuerlein with the extra point makes it a 3-point game with just over 2 minutes to play. Now, if you're thinking onside kick at this point, and Rondé, I would guess you tell me, will the Rams do it or not? We'll watch closely in just a moment. Fox Tonight, Thanksgiving comes early. Sunday Fun Day. All new episodes of TV's best comedies, guaranteed to leave you hungry for more. Sunday Fun Day, tonight at 8 Eastern, 7 Central on Fox. 3 timeouts remaining in the 2-minute warning after Bailey has his first career touchdown catch and career highs, 6 catches for 82 yards. Onside kick here, no.
No, give it to your defense.
And the Ram defense will be on the spot, try and get the ball back. Chargers have no chance on the return. They will take over at the 20-yard line, protecting a 3-point lead.
Right decision there. You question whether or not you kick an onside kick there, but you've been winning all day on defense.
And it even saves time, a few seconds, by kicking it through the end zone so the clock doesn't run to the 2-minute warning.
Absolutely. And this team has been predicated on their upset wins this year by the way Jeff Fisher and Greg Williams' defense have played. Give them a chance to win it for you here and get the ball back so you have a chance at the end of the football game.
In case you were wondering, the percentage this year in the NFL of onside kicks, just 5 of 34, so 15%. Very low percentage for the recovering team.
Now, if you're San Diego here.
Ryan Matthews is back in, by the way, with a bad shoulder.
He is.
And Rivers to throw on first down and completes up across the 25 to Keenan Allen. And we have reached the 2-minute warning. The Rams and the Chargers. Big plays. San Diego leads by 3. With Rondé Barber, Chris Myers, and you see the score with just under 2 minutes to play and all 3 timeouts remaining for each team. That's Frank Reich, offensive coordinator, and Greg Williams, Rams defensive coordinator. San Diego just wants to run out the clock, and Greg Williams trying to get the ball back for Jeff Fisher's offense.
San Diego had a great 4-minute drive eating up the clock last week. They started on their 6-inch line and were able to march down the field. Philip Rivers told us he was as proud as he's ever been of his team to be able to do what they did, closing out that football game last week in Oakland.
A tight 13-6 win against the Raiders here in San Diego. It is Ryan Matthews, who has over 100 yards today and a rushing touchdown. The timeout used quickly by the Rams. They will have 2 remaining. We mentioned Frank Reich, the offensive coordinator, and the boxing analogies he uses in the meeting rooms with Philip Rivers. If you're talking about a left hook or an off the mat, some highlights from today, the right cross, the flurry, Rivers, those short passes, and then the haymaker. Big touchdown run, and Keenan Allen with the last touchdown. And Rivers fired up, and this game in the hands of the offense, because if they keep the ball, they can end the game.
That was a cool analogy there. And Frank Reich spends a lot of time with his team, and he gives these analogies because he's been there. They can trust him because he's had the ball under center, just like Philip Rivers has it now, needing to get a first down on 3rd and 2, so he has a feel for his offense.
Rivers to throw. He's in trouble here, and the Ram defense shows up big when needed the most. The rookie, Aaron Donald. And a timeout for the Rams.
Well, we knew Aaron Donald would factor into this game at some point, and it's at the end that he does. You see him right here working on the guard. Troutman, the swim move, has no chance to stop him. He's been doing that all year long, and he comes up big when it mattered.
And that was down for the count if you're going to use those analogies for the Ram defense, as Mike Cypher's one of the best in the league. At dropping the ball inside the 20, he's going to need to leg this out. The AFC Special Teams Player of the Week last week, standing inside his own 10. And Tavon Austin, who can change things in a hurry, back at the Ram 23.
This game just got real uncomfortable for San Diego.
High kick. No fair catch. Austin has it. And he's loose. Hurdling his way. Tavon Austin with blockers in front. The punter's out of the way. There goes Tavon Austin. A second flag comes down as he goes out of bounds.
Penalty flag on the return.
2 different flags thrown on the play.
Jeff Fisher standing on the sideline, disbelief. Obviously, crucial moment in the football game, and usually when you get 2 flags on the play, it's going against the return team.
A spectacular return. This game has been affected by penalty from the opening bell. 9 accepted on the Rams, 8 accepted on the Chargers, and there have been 5 or 6 others that have not been accepted.
Now you gotta expect.
Look at the way the Rams are out onto the field here, almost as if they're on the edge of their seat looking into the theater here.
You remember the San Fran game where they had a Tavon Austin return that officiating crew erroneously said that he stepped out of bounds on, but they had 2 flags on the play. And with this type of conversation, you got to imagine that there's flat fouls on both teams here, and they're trying to sort this out.
Well, the Rams set up for the return. Cyphers boomed it, and Austin had room to run.
There are fouls by both teams during the play. During the kick, holding number 51 of the return team. During the return, illegal low block, number 5 of the kicking team. By rule, those fouls offset at the spot where the kick was caught. First down, St. Louis.
You see 51 on the left side of your screen. And we already missed it. And then in the punter, you see Cyphers is not trying to make a tackle on the returner, cannot go below the knees. That is a safety issue with the league. It's been called a lot the past couple of years.
So it would have been a 77-yard punt return all the way inside the 10 of San Diego, but you heard the explanation from Carl Cheffers. And Jeff Fisher is arguing, let's get a closer look at 51 McFadden to the Rams.
Right hash, you see him up here, top of the screen, and I mean, come on. Are you kidding me? Who called that? That is an unbelievable foul there. Jeff Fisher has all the right in the world to be upset right now. He talked at length about officials with us, and he's telling them right now that they are absolutely wrong. You'll see 51 right there. And he whiffed on the block, trying to block it, and they called a foul. That is unbelievable, unacceptable, really. If you're a St. Louis Rams fan, that play could affect the outcome of this game.
I'm sure he'll have words on the competition.
The foul will be enforced at the spot of the foul of the receiving team. That foul occurred at the 40-yard line.
That's a big difference. And our rules analyst, Mike Pereira, who watches back in Los Angeles at our control center, watches all the games, just like the league does, totally agrees with you on that call against the Rams. And at least they corrected. I'm glad Fisher brought up, and that's what I'm assuming he did, because it should be at the spot of the foul, not where he caught the ball.
Well, he's upset now, and Mike McCoy can say what he wants to. Jeff Fisher is absolutely in the right here, and he gets at least the reaction that you'd expect when they made the right call by placing this at the spot.
The ball is going to be at the 40 now of San Diego. And remember, Greg Zuerlein has made from 60. He actually has in practice hit from 74 yards. And I think Mike McCoy now is trying to say, now wait a minute, where was the infraction in relation to the penalty where you're going to spot the ball? And it probably could even be moved up toward the 30.
I was going to say, Chris, I'm not sure that this spot is even right. Let's go back one more time and look at this just to make clear of how bad this play is. 51 is right here. And watch him come into this play, and they're saying he illegally blocked 53 there. He barely even touched him. Wow, that's going to get a lot of play.
Yeah,
this weekend.
That's one of those calls you probably get a letter saying our mistake.
That does you no good.
It still leaves the Rams with hope. With one timeout and 1:27 to play from the 40 of San Diego. Benny Cunningham is the back. Sean Hill sets to throw. And incomplete. Jared Cook in the area. It'll be second down.
Hey, take a break, take a breath, let the bad penalty go, and St. Louis has a chance to win this football game now, or at least get the opportunity to tie this football game. They're going to need about 10, maybe 12 more yards to get into a comfortable field goal range, even though we know Greg Zuerlein can kick the ball from a mile away. You don't want to have to settle for a 60-something yard field goal to tie this game.
His career long was a 60-yarder back in 2013. Right now, it's a 58-yard kick if they get nothing or lose nothing. Sean Hill is on the move and completes the pass to who else? Stedman Bailey.
Shaun Hill, just impressive on his last 2 drives, his ability to get out of the pocket. I mean, he's definitely not will ever be confused with a scrambler type of quarterback, but those were 2 great plays by him to make some positive yards.
Well, it was up to the Charger offense to get a first down and run out the clock, and they couldn't do it against the Ram defense. Jeff Fisher's young team trying to win back-to-back games for the first time this year, trailing by 3 on 3rd and 3. Hill for Kenny Britt. He has the football. He's in bounds with the catch.
What a throw and what a catch here, Chris. This ball stayed in the air for about 13 seconds, it seemed like. Kenny Britt running away from the corner there, and this ball just drops right into the basket. He controls it to the ground. Through the catch, out of bounds. What a big play.
And now the Chargers have to worry about preserving their lead.
For a first down. That ruling is under review.
And it's under 2 minutes, so automatically they'll take a closer look. But that's ruled a catch on the field, a gain of 27 yards, and Carl Cheffers and this crew will take a closer look on the Kenny Britt grab. Ruled a catch on the field by Kenny Britt, reviewed upstairs by the officiating crew. Our rules analyst Mike Pereira back in Los Angeles. Rondé and you both say catch. It should stay a catch.
I certainly think this is a catch. He controls it before he gets to the ground.
The ruling on the field stands. First down, St. Louis.
He actually did a good job turning his body so the ball wouldn't even come in contact with the ground. So, yeah, big play.
27 yards down to the 6 of San Diego. And for Shaun Hill, he has 4 career game-winning drives. The last one was more than 5 years ago when he was with the 49ers. At worst, the Rams want to get a field goal out of this, but have a chance to go ahead with a touchdown with 1 timeout.
The Rams are now in the advantageous position of having the clock in their favor. You'll probably see San Diego start taking timeouts here, especially if St. Louis runs the football.
Benny Cunningham inside the 5, and the clock will run. And we will have a timeout. Chargers, as you just mentioned, Rondé, they will have 2 remaining.
If their defense can get a stop here, force a field goal opportunity, give the ball back to Philip Rivers, I feel pretty comfortable. You know, with that guy, the game he's had today, Philip Rivers has had a heck of a game today, controlling this offense, really dictating what the defense has been able to do to him. He gives a chance. This could be an exciting finish, Chris.
But what a drive by Shaun Hill with the game on the line after the Rams needed to score from a fake punt and getting into the end zone. After a touchdown, the second of the game was nullified by a penalty. They have just kept coming back.
It's a gritty unit, man.
Getting back up off the mat.
Yeah, we talked about that knockout blow that Philip Rivers and our offense gave him. This team just never gives up. Credit to Jeff Fisher and his staff, man.
That's Cunningham in motion. Shaun Hill to throw. Intercepted! Marcus Gilchrist in the middle of the field.
And Shaun Hill never saw him. He still didn't see him. He can't believe that's not a touchdown. Marcus Gilchrist was just hanging out in the flat there. There was a crossing route. Shaun Hill was waiting for it to come open, and he delivered. I guarantee you, he thought this was a touchdown when he let this ball go. You see Gilchrist over here on the left side of your screen. Kenny Britt is winning a matchup, and Gilchrist just sitting right there. Johnny on the spot. Look at this. He has no idea that ball's about to get intercepted. What a huge play for the Chargers defense, and John Pagano could not be any more excited.
It's the one mistake you couldn't make. You could even take a sack in that situation if you're Shaun Hill to give yourself a chance at a field goal. But the turnover seals it for San Diego. Phillip Rivers will run out the clock. The Rams have one timeout. And the Chargers.
The agony on Shaun Hill's face, the emotions that I'm sure that he's going through right now. He played a great game, and good teammate there. Bailey coming over, putting his hand on his shoulder there.
Joy on the other sideline as the Chargers playoff hopes alive and well, as they hope to go to 7-4, and the Rams and Jeff Fisher will fall to 4-7, and again fighting the fact that no matter who they beat the previous week, they can't seem to win the next week.
This is about as good an opportunity as they've had to get one done. And you look at this schedule now of the Chargers, it is brutal. You guys checking the scores. Denver is now up 39 to 28. They're going to win that football game. They got a tough stretch though ahead of them.
And the Rams will be home against the Raiders. The Rams have a contingency plan or plans for the Ferguson, Missouri investigation or information that may be released that may have an effect on their home game next week. But a tough day after Shaun Hill led the Rams to their biggest win of the season against the Broncos last Sunday. A chance to win it in San Diego, and the interception seals it for San Diego.
Yeah, they put up a great fight, Chris. This team is resilient. They'll find a way. Jeff Fisher and his team will find a way to get that consistency they're looking for. They're in every single football game I've seen them play. But this ends up being a great victory for Phillip Rivers especially, and Mike McCoy and his Chargers as they make their run, another run perhaps, to the playoffs.
We'll have more from San Diego. The Chargers hold on to beat the Rams 27-24.